on. And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm with the wonderful Chris Edwards. It's a
Good
new
morning.
week. It's a Trend
It
Thursday, TrendWatch Thursday. This is where we just talk about whatever's in the news, what's happening in the world, and there's a whole lot happening in the world and a whole lot happening in the news.
A ton.
So Chris, how are you, first of all, in this wonderful morning?
I'm good. It's Thursday already. We're at the end of almost at the end of another week. The weeks just keep going. The weeks keep going.
I was telling my buddy last night I had the great opportunity to go to a musical here in Brooklyn at our BAM and the Brooklyn Academy of Music. And they had a play called Macbeth in Stride. And it was the story of Macbeth, but it was fused with some gospel, a little bit of a little rap, a little hip hop, a little bit of lots of Black culture, and I have never seen Macbeth done this way. And what's interesting about seeing it done this way is that we read Macbeth when we were in high school, and and we got the gist of it. But it was so nice to see it on the stage because it was interesting that things that I missed in the class, I saw in the musical because of how they were able to express the lines and express the situation, or I should say the environment that the lines were meant to be. And so they did a good job. This is my wonderful ticket for BAM. If you guys want to go if you're in New York City and you want to go to check it out, you want to make sure you go to Orchestra Seat K 122 and 121. Those are the best seats, perfect seats for this play. And that's where I was sitting yesterday at seat 122. My buddy, she was at 121. And yes, so if you want to go to BAM, check out, it's at the this is called Macbeth in Stride. It's produced, I think, by Whitney White, and is at the Harvey Theater. BAM Strong. So check it out if you're in New York City. Hint, hint. If
our cultured one,
our cultured folks in the city, you will love it. It was really good. I had a great time, and thank you to my neighbor who spotted me and gave me some tickets. And she was like, Ron, I think you would like this. I think this would be up your alley. Would you like to go? And I was like, yeah.
Listen, the one thing I will say about you, and you can never deny this, you are blessed. You have some great friends.
I do. I have great friends.
You have great friends.
I surround myself with great people, and I would not have it any other way. I don't allow rubbish, as Dr. Tachi would say, rubbish. I won't allow rubbish in my environment. You may knock at the door, but that means that doesn't mean you're coming in. But I really do believe you treat people right. You take care of people. You look out for people. And she's my neighbor. Literally, I call her my auntie because she's like down the hall. And when I was going through surgery, she called every day. She even looks at this program. Yeah, so I was like, so auntie, if you're listening,
hey auntie.
But she by the way, looks out for me all the time.
Great show yesterday. I love the panel. It was really. I was watching.
Yes, I saw you. Yes, we had a good time. I mean, I love when you can just let it go and just share, and everybody has their point of view and their thoughts. And the subjects were really good because due process is so important, and people again don't realize due process is in two amendments. I do believe it's the 5th and the 14th, the 5th and the 14th, or the 5th and the 15th. Can't remember which ones, but it's in two amendments, due process. So it is important, and we got to protect it. We got to protect because if we do not take a stand in this day, in this time, all of us, none of us are protected.
Not a one.
Not one. And all of us are in danger. And all of us can be rounded up and just put into another country.
That is crazy to me.
Insanity, right? Wrapping your head around that.
It's like literally, like you're a U.S. citizen and you can be, just because they feel like it, you know what? We're going to put you in prison. And matter of fact, we're not going to keep you here. We're going to ship you off to another country where you don't know anything or know anyone. And
or
when you go
language.
there, we can't bring you back. Like that right there is the foolishness. We can't bring you back.
We can't bring you back. Hogwash. However, you were able to bring back a guy who was a rapist and a guy that was doing all sorts of crimes, but you were able to get him back.
Yep. Well, you know, when they want to bring back the white criminals.
They want the white criminals.
Yeah.
This is why, look, you talk about homegrown, look no further than January 6th. But
all of them loose.
Oh, let's let them all go. Let's let them all out into the streets.
And a good portion of them
have committed crimes
incarcerated again.
Yes.
Literally, like some, a couple of days after being released, being arrested again.
And two are dead. And two are dead because of their crime.
This
is where we are in America.
The insane are running the insane asylum.
State. We're in an autocracy. People keep saying, I get pissed off every time I see someone on the news. Well, we're not there yet. No, we are there.
We've been there.
We've been there.
To the first presidency was the trial run.
Yeah.
To see if it could be done. And now this is the actual crime happening.
It is unreal. But let's say hello to some folks in the building. I see the wonderful good morning from Hannah. She says, good morning, Ron and Chris and Touch Base Daily family. Lady G, who's in the back, she's in the back room in the virtual chamber. So she'll be coming on soon. Good morning, she says. And we have also Elise. She says, good morning, everyone. And we have wonderful Bryson in New York. Bryson is in New York.
So he's in New York. Okay.
Bryson, go check out BAM. Go out and check out Macbeth in Stride. If you want to go, and make sure you get seat K122. And that's seat that owl. Bryson says, what's up, Ron? What's up, Chris? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, everybody? Happy Law and Order Thursday. Today is the premiere of Organized Crime on Peacock.
Bryson, I just finished watching before I came on here. Really good.
Really?
And it's 2 episodes for the season premiere. And also it's a crossover, so it will go into all the Law and Orders tonight.
Oh. So we see. And also Hannah said, she's saying good morning to everybody. And Bryson saying good morning to everybody. He's also said, what's up, Hannah? What's up, Gwendolyn? What's up, Ken? What's up, Elise? And then we got the great Kit MVP from game night last night. The MVP is in the house. She's the MVP from last night. Kimmy. People could lie on you and poof. It's not funny though. It's the truth. Because remember I told you about those Christian missionaries that embedded their thoughts and mindsets in Uganda, and how if you are accused of being a homosexual, you will be imprisoned for life. So then what happens is people that had animosity with their neighbors or wanted their property, like a next door neighbor wanted the property of their neighbor, they make up a lie. The family, the man, whoever the family is next door, is arrested. And then that property is now going to the person that was.
But see, they're doing that in this country already. Like
Oh yeah.
when they instituted the repeal the not abortion. What I'm trying to think. What's the word? Yeah, abortion bans. And in Texas, they were telling on people.
Yes.
Oh, I think she might be pregnant.
Assumption. Also, for the voting registration in Atlanta and different parts of the country, where if someone accuses you of not being a registered voter, then you were taken off the roll. That's how a lot of people got off the roll. That's how they got a lot of people off the roll. People that were part of the Trump movement, MAGA, and it was really like 2 or 3 people. It was just like this one woman that was going around all over the place and accusing people that they weren't registered voters and that their names should be taken off the rolls. And what they did was they went through the rolls of the voters, and anyone that had a black sounding name or a name of a Hispanic person were taken off the rolls. And then people like that military gentleman that was living in California, a senior citizen, had to round up some money to go. He served in the military. He had to get money, raise money, fly to Atlanta to prove that he's alive and that he is a resident of Atlanta and that he is a voter.
I don't know if you guys talked about this yesterday because I didn't watch the whole show, but can we talk about how they are manipulating social, not even Social Security office, but I think that's part of it, where they are basically people that are alive, killing them virtually, and then they're losing all their benefits because they're putting them on these death lists, saying that they're dead. So that the list that is being used for like banks and other financial institutions, once they show up on that list, they close their accounts, even though these people are very much alive. This is happening to adults and also to children.
Yeah, this is a wicked. This is wicked time. This is not bad times. This is not ugly times. They are doing wicked time.
All of the things, and they're doing it to everyone, and you don't even know about it until it's too late, until it's already happened.
Yes, and this is, at least we're saying they brought those brothers back who were trafficking women, right? Yeah. And allegedly raping them. So there was a bunch of accusations on these 2 guys, but they brought them back because they had money.
Didn't I believe they asked for them to be released?
Yeah. Because they were white bros. They were the white bros. They were his bros.
And you should, I mean, I've seen some of the footage of them like talking on podcasts on how they treat people and especially women. And it is just like, it is 2025 and you actually have people that still talk like this and on public forums.
Yeah, it is. This is where we are. This is where we are. Hey, Bryson, I know I can't wait till this movie comes out. We did it. We showed this on one of our game nights. We showed this on Sunday's game night. You know, tomorrow is Sinners. Comes out tomorrow with Michael.
We're watching it Saturday.
Who's ready to go see it? And Keisha, am I saying it right? Keisha Coles?
Keisha Cole.
Is it Keisha?
Cole.
Okay.
Yeah, Keisha Cole.
Is it spelled differently than a regular Keisha?
No, that's how you spell it.
Okay, it looks different to me. Keisha Cole just announced her The Way It Is 20th anniversary tour.
Okay. We're getting old. All these artists now are celebrating like huge anniversaries on albums.
Their 20th anniversary tour. I am definitely old. When I was out with Adrian, we were talking, and Adrian was telling me about his birthday coming up. I was like, hell, I am old. I am old. I am definitely getting old, but I don't look it, and only sometimes do I feel it.
Yeah. The white hair means nothing.
The white beard means that, because I've seen people that are young, way younger than me. People in their 40s have white beards. So
listen, I had white hair since I was 17. So
I had gray hair since I was 15, like little strands coming in.
Oh no, I had a patch.
Really?
Yeah, it runs in on my biological father's side of the family.
My
Oh, they
mother's side.
all great, and it wasn't. It was great. It was like white.
Mm. And Elise says they admitted what they have done. Yes, and you know what's crazy about they're still going online on TV. These the Trump people and accusing the guy. You just said you made a mistake. You already admitted that you made a mistake. You already admit, but yet you're criminalizing the dude
Yes,
every day on television.
that has no criminal record, and
Yes.
there's no proof of anything that he's ever done criminally. You know, but here's the thing. You know, the one thing that bothers me more than anything out of all of this, well, one of the things, Marco Rubio.
No. Oh.
He is of immigrant descent. If that's the case, ship his ass back to where he came from or his parents came from.
He's
He, I mean,
disgraceful.
he
is
has
disgraceful.
fallen so far.
So far, as they say,
I mean,
from
granted,
grace.
he was a Republican, but he was respectable. You could respect some of the things that he was doing. And now to see how he is just like shit under this man's shoe.
He is in his butt. He is licking his intestines. He is in his butt licking his intestines. Jazzy says 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary. Oh, we're getting old, right? And then I see here, good morning, Tachi. We missed you terribly last night, says Hannah. We missed you, Dr. Tachi, because I always go, is there a doctor in the house when we play our game night? We had a good turnout. We had like 13 people in the building last night.
Okay.
We had 13 people. We were having a good time last night in our game.
And y'all be hanging out late on a Wednesday night.
Oh yeah. Well, we hang out. Our time stop is 1 a.m. We stop at 1 a.m.
1 a.m. I'm probably getting up to pee.
But I don't normally get up until 9 o'clock these days. So, well, I shouldn't say that. I get up at 8 o'clock. So, or I'll get up at 6 o'clock and then go back to sleep and get up at 9 o'clock.
5:30. I'm up, and I've just now gotten back into my routine. Husband leaves out like around 6:15. I get up. I'm out the door by 6:30, either in the gym or on the running walk path over here. So,
Dr. Taji says, "Oh, my father's side of the family, they generally don't gray, which is why neither my sister nor I have any gray hair. My mother, on the other hand." Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, so typically,
says, good morning, Jazzy. Go ahead, buddy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ali says, good morning, Jazzy. I have 3 great nephews who lost both of their parents and received benefits. Wow. And
that's
also,
Kim says, some money, but
and added other people names of confuse some to make sure they reinforce some type of criminals. Yes, they're horrible. These the Trump people, as I like what they're calling them on Midas Touch, the Trump regime, because that's who they are. They are not an administration. And they're also, to piggyback on you, Chris, Dr. Tachi says Marco Rubio is the brand of Florida Cuban that thinks they are somehow un-Cuban, though many of them came here through things like the Amaro boat lift. And they are somehow better than others.
Yeah.
Jazzy says,
but they find it, but they're finding out.
Mother. Yep. It's crazy. Jazzy says, and then using a grieving mother to do the dirty work. I'm over this administration. It is now I'm calling it now the regime. Dr. Taji says, sorry, I fell asleep last night. We missed you. Hannah says, Rubio was always a bad part of our experience. Never cared for him. Always saw him as he is. He is an opportunist. He's always been that way. But now he's at the bottom. He's just
the worst.
Trash. Just trash. I don't even want to call him. I have to just say, as they say in the movies, he's a dirtbag. He's just horrible.
Spicy words on a Thursday morning.
He's just Dr. Ty says, Elise, but you look exactly the same as you were younger. And we're all caught up now here. And Jelly says also, same, my niece did as well. It's not a thing anyone wants to be a part of, especially a child.
Really?
Ugh. Okay, let's bring the ladies on. Let's bring the ladies on
Come
because
on
we
in.
need our female.
We need balance.
We need the balance. And they will take us there because they are full of balance.
And they're more spicy than us.
Yeah, they are. They are definitely more spicy. When we put Elise and Gwendolyn on, they are true. We are like the bland meal, and then they are hot, the spice.
And they are hot chili oil. And I love hot chili oil.
Hot chili.
And then add a little tahini in it.
Yes. Woo! Yes, they are the spice. They're the spice of the Touch Base Daily family.
Hot chili oil and tahini. Y'all pick whichever one y'all want to be.
Look, I think I'm the tahini.
Yeah, I'm thinking hot chili.
No, and yes, you want to. I can tell you who the hot chili is.
Yes, definitely.
She's wearing green today.
Fancy green glasses, looking like the Green Hornet. She is like that. She is doing the
Green Hornet.
Hey, we loved him.
We love the Green Hornet.
I like the Green Hornet. I like the Green Hornet.
Or Green Lantern. Or Green Lantern.
Yes, I meant the Green Lantern.
And don't make her angry because then she'll turn into the Incredible Hulk.
Oh yes, she will. Yes, she will. Steve. Woo, yes, we got spice. Spicy. She's spicy TDB.
Morning, ladies.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? So you guys have heard us talking chat, but there's a whole lot going on. What headlines y'all want to tell? Ladies first, what headlines you want to tackle? What do you want to that's in the media that you want to tackle on this Touch Base Daily TrendWatch Thursday?
Well,
it's ladies' choice.
If I may, I am at a crossroads with some of the women who get more airplay than others. I'm not going to talk about Felicia Rashad. I'm not going to do it because I get really angry whenever I bring up that topic of her.
Yes, you do.
Trying to tell young women how to dress and all of that BS. But we can stick with the ladies who went to space for all of 11 minutes, which was just a horrible ploy. That did not work out well.
So controversial.
Well, here's the deal. Do I think it's great that you went to space? You want to go to space? Go to fucking space.
Technically not space. It's the edge of space.
It's the edge. However, we're at a place where you have, as you say, a regime that is rolling back women's rights, that is reducing the access for young ladies to even get into college. Because even though they say it's about, merits and all that whatnot, we know better. Like, we know better, right? So you want to go to space to influence people. I'm thinking, will this young lady even have the chance, the access to vote and to even get into a school to do what you think she wants to do? Put your time and money in some other place. Like, it was just ridiculous. So disconnected with what is happening. If you want to go out there and do your thing, then do your thing. But don't make it seem like you did it for the betterment of women. Like, let's not do that.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Gwendolyn. I say when I heard those comments from Gayle King, I was like, wait a minute. First of all, girl, you are not anybody's astronaut. You had to pay $150,000 deposit. Do you know we can send kids to college for that? And you want to act like you did something to empower young girls, excuse me, while they are trying to fire female astronauts who have
accreditations, who have the credit,
you to get there, who have the doctorates, be there. You all got put on a designer suit, put on your makeup, went up in that
flying penis.
It's a penis.
well, as I think it was Kimball says, the giant vibrator.
Vibrator, metal penis. It was a circumcised penis. You went up in that thing.
Wow.
And okay. The only thing that came back was the head of it.
That's what they've been saying.
And then you go, God. You spin up that, you can go and they're waitlist. You can go and get paid to go into these waitlist places for a whole lot less than y'all spent to pretend you were in space.
That's what I told Gwendolyn.
On the edge. And then you came back to say, now here's Gayle thing. And he wants to put our waste in space. I think we've already created a lot of space waste with all that metal that we have floating around up there.
There's a whole lot of waste.
The whole idea of the joke of coming out of her mouth of I'm trying to is to encourage young girls. No, you're not encouraging young girls to go into that because you didn't do what it takes to get there. You paid for this experience for 11 seconds or whatever 11 minutes to go up and a few seconds to float around and smile and come back down and kiss the ground. It's like what's the whole point of that? And just be real. The money you spent on that, just the deposit, is somebody's full 4 year ride, 4 years to college. And now, because of the craziness that's going on, the opportunity for girls who look like her to get into schools is getting harder and harder because of the extremists that are out here. So we need to stop playing games and our feelings are hurt. Hurt what?
Oh, TMZ went in on Gayle. Poor thing. They let her. They were just going. It's interesting. It had the opposite effect of when the first time it happened. Like they first sent the rocket up. People were like, "Oh, this is great." Blah blah blah. The edge of space. But this one did not go well. It did. Across the board. I've heard so. I've been online, as you say. I'm in these TikTok, real streets, and people have been really blasting them,
especially Black women.
Right.
Yes.
I saw one this morning. I was just like, oh, okay.
Because it's the audacity to come out and say the types of things that they had to say, that she in particular had to say about what trying to rationalize why she did this, took this billionaire tourist ride to do anything. And she needs to be honest. It had nothing to do with motivating young girls. If that was the case, you would be out here promoting, you would be out here trying to put them through school. You'd be doing something different. You wouldn't be out here. And then, to call myself an astronaut, that's the one that cracks me up when you see the videos. Like, girl, you're not an astronaut.
You are not an astronaut.
To be an astronaut, you actually have to be trained to do that. So, I think that's where it's coming from. I think it's coming from the arrogance of saying statements, right? Because now, during a time where our education at all levels, or specifically for us, is under attack at every level, starting from, we're talking about elementary through higher education is totally under attack. Our access to higher education is under attack. They took the women off the NASA pictures off the NASA site. Do you know how many women at NASA probably are cursing you too? They're just not saying it. But they took their pictures off the site and they're going through and calling them DEI. No, Dr. Mae Jameson earned the right to be where she is.
That's right.
So that's where it's coming from, the audacity to be able to come out and say some of the stuff that she said and think that, and who cares if her feelings are hurt? We don't care. What feelings? Did you think about that before you even mouthed what?
And again,
you should have just said, "Oh, I enjoyed my trip up. It's just a thing I wanted to treat myself to." Leave it at that. Don't fake.
And that's the whole thing, is be honest. The whole thing is not be a propagandist and not be let me kind of like make this twisted to make it feel like I'm doing something for others when I'm really doing it for myself.
Right.
So can I add one more last thing to that? Since she had mentioned how he was trying to make the world better and all this other foolishness. If that was the case, he would be a better philanthropist.
Yes.
Like, look at what Amazon does for their employees in terms of healthcare, in terms of pay. Just think about how he could be doing something here versus trying to take trash into space. I don't want to hear that foolishness.
He has no Bill Gates.
About capitalism.
All of them.
Capitalism can be conscious. You do not have to do business the way everybody else does it. It does not have to be a zero-sum game. We know a number of companies that are conscious. They pay their employees well. They take care of their customers. Everybody still wins. Buc-ee's. Now, I'm not big on using public restroom. Lord knows I have requirements, right? But Buc-ee's is a gas station. People come from all over to go to a Buc-ee's. Their people get paid extremely well. We know you can be a conscious capitalist. It is possible. You choose not to do so.
Yeah, and he does, and that's the way he is about his people. And people, it's not just the people who work in the warehouses. His executives, they get water. My daughter used to work for them on the executive level, and she said the way they treat them is nothing. Like you may get a cup of coffee, but they do expect you to work all hours because they have clients in other parts of the world. So she never at night. She had clients who were in China, so she had to be on late at night because that's when the Chinese were doing business. Was she getting paid extra for that? No. And
no differentials.
And her issue was with how that company was as humans. She's very much about how people are treated and how they treat the environment. She's very into that. And she was like, I get it. And I was like, girl, it's like you gotta have a job. But she walked away from it. I have children who walked away from companies that people probably say, I want to work for them because they saw how it worked and they saw how they treated people. And people like, man, they left them. I say, yeah, my son was out of work for like a month because he left a company that people would fight to be a part of because he said they were racist. It was how
know what that also says about your kids? Your kids are a reflection of you.
Yeah.
You raise them well to make conscious decisions about conscious matters.
And and trust me, he was blessed with a job a month later that was paying more than he was getting paid at the other company.
But sometimes you have to
humane benefits.
Yeah. I'm a true believer. Sometimes you have to walk away something to open up yourself up to a bigger blessing. And especially when you work with people that aren't good. I'm not even, was it last January? I walked away from a client that I had for a couple of years that I was like, this is not for me. And it just took one incident. I was like, you will never do this again. I said, we're done.
Mm-hmm. Another door opened.
Yeah,
a way better door opened.
Because you're in a situation sometimes you can't see other opportunities that are there waiting for you. But the moment you remove yourself from situations, you've now opened yourself up, and then all the things that were meant for you are going to come rushing forward to you. So I'm a true believer in that.
Well, I tell you all the time, I left my company. They treated me like crap. And I trained all of those folks in visual merchandising. And they were horrible to me. And it wasn't always that case. When I first got to that company, it was great. It was wonderful. They were on top of their game. They were on top of how they took care of their people. It was a great company when I first started. And Gwendolyn knows because they did the same thing to her at the end. Whew, gave her the boot. Well, no, they didn't give her the boot. She said, I'm out. I told her, I'm taking my pearls and I'm out.
She didn't think I had options. I said, you've met the wrong Negro. I got options. So
I hope you told her where she can go.
Oh no, Gwendolyn, I'll never forget. And when Gwendolyn did it, I was somewhere. But next thing you know, my phone was lit up. People from the company called me. Did you hear what happened? And I was like,
Gwendolyn, I can see her giving the wait until I exhale Angela Bassett cigarette, lighting up and walking away. Burn this bitch down.
That was Gwendolyn.
Oh my God, Chris, I kid you not. I got up, I took off my badge. I literally tossed it at my manager. I said, you could have told me about this. I could have saved my gas and stayed at home. Like it was full on. Like a camera needs to be in that room. But I thought, you know what I'm not going to do, because I understand. My mother is clear. We work with people. We don't work for them. And at any time, if that relationship is broken, then you can just walk away. But we always had options. And for a lot of people, this country has made it seem as if the worker has no options, right? I always believe in having a plan to walk away. But sometimes if your mental health is at risk, leave it. It's not worth that. It's not worth it. So I went into work, thinking I was going to, do my normal deal. And, her boss came in talking crazy. And I was like, you don't understand who the fuck you talking to.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you have two choices. You can either do this or you can do that. It's like, no, I got one. I fucking quit. Peace.
Yes. I love
like,
it.
you're talking to me like that.
I got another choice.
In Gwendolyn fashion, she was out. And I'm telling you, my phone, when the news spread, because y'all don't, I mean, we work for a really interesting company. And when you are a star in what you do, everyone in the company knows about it, literally across the country. Gwendolyn has what I call star status. When she walked in, they were like, "Oh, Gwendolyn."
Well, I was the face.
Gwendolyn was all she did the teaching.
Yeah,
she taught
I was the face.
And she was the face. I mean, she was in the some of the pamphlets. She created she was the model on the pages. And
come on, model.
She was doing her thing, and she was the face, and not only the face, but the mouth of the company in a lot of instances. And so when she left,
you let that mouth go.
I did.
I'm not mad at it.
I was shocked.
When
Gwendolyn called me and said, "Ron, you won't believe what happened today." And I said, "What happened?" They had the nerve. They had the nerve to test me today. They had the nerve to test me today. I got options. Don't tell me I don't have no options. I got options. And she's been, Gwendolyn could take that speech on the road and make some money. Because the way I mean, literally, she could be a spokesperson on
I'm here for it.
But I will do this. If I can add that silver lining to it.
Go ahead.
The day that I quit, I had a flu shot. The very next day, I was hot because I had that flu shot schedule. I was like, great, now I got to go to Walgreens or CVS. But my phone call rang twice. 2 big photography contracts came in. That's how I got my wine fridge. And then I had the time to do it. Right? So sometimes, yes, when you walk away from something that is, at the time it was great, but then you outgrow that opportunity, another one is waiting for you. Sometimes 2, 3 of them. So close the door, get some nails, nail that bitch shut.
Yes.
And some say, "Oh, you shouldn't burn the bridges." There's
burn
some
that
bridges
down.
that have to be burned down. You need to take a crane and burn it to the ground, dynamite, and never return on that direction.
Okay, Gwendolyn said she burned it down, but the blessing was, hey, you got the message that here's what you got. These doors are open for you. That one was one that you needed to leave, and here's what you got. This is what is your blessing. This is your blessing, right? So you got a blessing after. Because you said, the heck with that. And I know, look, I've been a rebel, and look, I got some people removed from their jobs.
That's right.
Don't fuck with the lease.
But you know what? When I was, when I was at my company.
Went to the principal's office at my first high school. The principal was doing all kinds of stuff. I went in the office. I rallied all these people, and we went in the office, and it was morning. We had our things and said, we're not working. Until something changes. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They had to call the superintendent's office, have someone that convinced, because I had so many teachers walk out of their classroom that day.
Oh, you were definitely a disturbance.
I wasn't even a union person.
But you have to. If this is to encourage anyone out there that's listening, because this is really about the encouragement. This is obviously a tangent that we've gone to when we first talked with the astronaut. All good though. But this is all good, because I'll tell you, when I left that spot, when I left that company, when they told me no, when they were like, "Oh," I just went to them and said, "Hey, can I have 3 weeks vacation? I got 5 weeks vacation. Can I take 3 weeks? Because there's opportunities coming of a lifetime. I've never asked you guys for anything." And then I saw the other homegirl, didn't look like my complexion, got some opportunities. I was like, and y'all gave her those weeks, but you ain't gonna give me those weeks. And long story short, I just said, okay, no problem. And then I went to the opportunity was to go to Africa to photograph for 3 weeks and the Middle East. And I was like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm going to be in a Jeep riding around Africa in 4 countries. So it was South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe. And I crossed the bridge into Zambia and then went to the Middle East and went to Dubai and went to Doha. That was a trip of a lifetime. And I went to them and expressed the importance of this trip as I was a new photographer, kind of like trying to get my settings in there. When my boss said no, I just went downstairs, told my buddy who was doing the planning, book the trip. This was like in the end of February, mid-March, because they waited a month to tell me no. They had me hanging, and then waited a whole month to tell me no. Then I said, book the trip. Here's the money. I'm sending you money today, because if I send you money, that means I'm not getting that money back. And Ron does not play with money. So I said, when I give you money, that means I'm making it happen. And then gave that money out. And then next thing you know, the months went by. I just started planning, but as soon as I made that decision, every window, every door opened for me. Everything. A job came up immediately. A client came up, called me and said, "Hey, Ron, we just got our architect to finish our building, and we want you to design our youth center as an interior designer." That job paid for my whole trip to Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was one thing after another. Next thing you know, one of my friends, she's a travel agent. She says, her husband says, at the time, she says, "Hey, have you ever been on safari?" I said, "No." "Well, one of our friends can't go. We have a ticket for you. Would you like to go?" And I said, "Oh, how much is that going to cost?" He said, 10 grand. I said, "Okay, 10 grand for 2," because it was 2 safaris, not 1, but 2. It cost 10 for 1. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then the day before, I was woken up out of my sleep and something said, like I literally, like a voice inside of me said, "You need an extra $10,000 on your refi." And I called the broker up that morning, I said, Jane, she's a great supporter. She supports me in a lot of things I do. I said, "Jane, what would it cost if I added 10,000 to the refi?" She goes, "How much would it be for the mortgage a month?" She said, about $11, $12. I said, "Oh, add the 10,000. Add the 10,000. And then you fast forward, that question came up. I said, "You know what? This was meant to be. Let's do it." I'm going on my first safaris. Ended up in the most amazing places that only Tom Hanks and all these other people go to. I mean, this was not no little cheap safari. This was the top of the line safari, and being out and getting up every morning and photographing the elephants and being in their world and the lions and all that stuff every morning, every afternoon. Well, not afternoon, every evening, morning and evening. I was in my Range Rover. It's time, sir. It's time for us to leave. They would come to my room, my little hut, it wasn't a hut. It was a beautiful, luxurious place I was staying. And I say that, and so when we got to December to leave, because I said my anniversary of being with this company, 12 years exactly, and I went in to resign. They were like, "Wait a minute. You're on duty tonight. You're closing the store tonight. You can't leave." Think. I said, "Hell yeah, I'm leaving." I said, "Today is my last day." And then I handed in my badge. The security guy was like, "No, Ron, I can't believe you're leaving. No." And I handed in that badge. I walked out into the street, looked up at that sign that said the address, the street crossing, and said, "I'll never look at this sign the same again. I am
Good for you. Good for you. You know what?
And I wouldn't be where I am today
if
I did not make that move.
Yeah. I get it. We've all been there. I have a similar story. Well, not really that deep, but I was out of work for 3 years after the big crash in 2009. I got laid off. I didn't work for 3 years. I lived off of my savings and 401k, and probably the best time of my life. Came back to New York, 2012, and I had just started looking for another job here. Did not, I got a job at an architectural firm. Someone I had used to work with said, "Oh, hey, they have an opening here. You should go here." So I went there. I worked there for 2 weeks. After about the first week, I realized something was going on here that just didn't seem right. Like when I would get up to leave at 5:30, everyone would just like look at me like, "Well, where's he going?" And then I started really investigating. Then I found out that it was a sweatshop type of architectural place. They had a lot of was it H-1 visa people there, and they would work them to the bone. I was just like, you know what? This is not for me. Now, mind you, I hadn't worked for 3 years, and this is the first job I had coming back out of that. And a lot of people look down on people when you have that gap on your resume. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not doing this. That Friday, I went to them. I said, you know what? I won't be back. Today's my last day. I only worked there for 2 weeks. And do you know I walked into another job the following Tuesday?
Yeah.
And I ended up working at NYU for 8 years.
Yes. And that's when because you talk about a lot of stuff from that. You learned a lot in that job.
Oh, I learned a lot there. I made great money there. I made some really good friends there. And honestly, it was because of NYU is how I met you.
Yeah.
Because of Elsie.
I wouldn't know Chris. It wasn't for NYU.
Yeah. A lot of great things happened for NYU. And when I started working there, the opportunities for me to travel more opened up, because I only worked I started out with 5 days a week, but because I was an independent contractor, I can make up my own hours. I was like, you know what? I don't want to work on Fridays. I want to go and start traveling. I started traveling. I went to Iceland. I went to Thailand. I just went all over the world, and I was able to see a lot of the things that I thought I would never be able to see and to do. But it's all because I said, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think we all had that. So we have to, one, believe in ourselves and don't take no bullshit from nobody. And I think this BS. Is also is a part of us as we mature and get older. We just learn certain things that we just will not tolerate from people moving forward.
And Chris, when you say that, I look, I had no money. I was like, Lord, I'm gonna walk out of this store. I'm just gonna walk out in December, and I have no money. I was like, well, then it's once you make the decision to bet on yourself. It's like someone mentioned beforehand, and they're like, Ron, you work so hard at that company. You've trained so many people. You're always doing this. You're always doing that. And you are exerting so much energy. Gwendolyn, all of us, we exert so much energy for our employers. When you could be taking that same energy
and they are dumber
and
than
apply it to what you want to do in life and what you love and what you want to become. And I guarantee you, I'm telling you, I really had no dollars to be making that decision to walk out the door. But as soon as I did walk out, made the decision and just trusted God, I said, God, you are with me and you're going to make this happen. I just know you didn't open this door for it to just collapse.
Right.
And I literally went to my friends. I went to family members. I said, even Janet is in the building. Our mutual friend Barbara, she has so much experience in life, and we went and I talked to her about it. I said, this is what's happening in my world. This is what's happening on my job. This is what the doors are opening. What do you think I should do? She says, Ron, walk. She says, go. And she said, it's your time. Yeah. Quote unquote. It's your time. If you don't go through this door, you'll miss your time. Go. Yeah. And this is your time. And she said, and she just kept repeating it. And guess what? She was right. And all the people that were around me. And now I'm on a new chapter. Now I'm in a new crossroads of where I'm going to be doing and moving and selling my apartment. But it's amazing the path you will have if you just trust and have faith. Yeah. It's going to be okay. It feels scary at first. when I had the broker here 2 days ago, I was like, I am scared to death. I love my apartment. I don't want to sell my apartment, but I know it is what's next. It's
right.
I know that God has something bigger and better for me, and that I feel the restraints that I felt when I was at that company that was restraining me, and I feel it today being in this apartment. I know there's greatness coming in the future, but you gotta have faith and trust and believe that God, I tell you, I'm a man of faith, that God will see you through, and he's going to introduce you to the people you need to be introduced to. He's going to take care of the plans. He's going to take care of the finances. There's going to be a way. I never in my imagination thought I would have a photo in National Geographic, a photo in the New Yorker, the photo in the Interior Design magazine, and goes on. I never thought that for myself.
Right.
But until I took the step, those doors would have never opened if I just would have took my boss said no. I was like, okay, no problem. I can't go, guys. I can't go. I gotta stay here. My boss said no. You gotta believe.
You are the boss of your life, and you have to know what's best for you. You can't sit there and let other people dictate what it is you're going to do and how you're going to move through this world. Because the moment you do that, you succeeded who you are as a human being.
Right.
This is why I always say bet on yourself. Sometimes you can't wait for that perfect opportunity, because that opportunity will never come. You have to make those opportunities and open those doors. Yes. Sometimes you open that door, you look, and all you see is like a bottomless pit. Guess what? Jump, because there is a bottom that you'll reach, and you'll land safely, and you'll know what it is you're meant to do once you get there.
May I add something that I would tell my team when I was working at, I just say TCS. Jerron's always like that job. It's like, call them out. We know exactly who they are. But I would always tell my team, at the moment of commitment, the universe will conspire to assist you, right?
Yeah.
But in order to get there, a lot of us have to, unlearn some things.
Mm-hmm.
We come into this world with the idea of working for somebody else.
Yes.
You look at the education system. As I've said before, it will beat the creativity out of every child. It doesn't have to be that way, but it does. And at a certain point, we just stop dreaming, and we decide to just go ahead and do what mother says or father says and live someone else's idea of what our life should be. And then to be an adult and be unhappy, you're like, so now what? It takes a lot to get there. But for people who are thinking, should I? It's like, the moment you commit to it, it's going to happen. Now, Ron, I'm also a woman of faith. I believe that your blessing is yours. Can't nobody steal your blessing.
Yes.
So it will be waiting for you when you are ready for it. You just got to get
right.
Because it's there.
Right? It's there waiting for you.
It is there. People may take you off the path, but they can't block your blessing and they can't steal it.
That's right.
It is yours. What is meant for you is yours.
I recently heard something and shared it with a friend and it said that the blessing and what you've asked God for is there. He's just waiting for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the one that's holding things up.
We're holding it up.
Because it's already done. You just have to go out there and step out on faith and trust that.
Yes.
And we have to get past our fear.
Fear.
Fear holds us back.
Yes. It's crippling.
As an educator, Gwendolyn, and as a parent and educator, and watching children go into schools and see how they change. I was like, schools suck the life out of kids. And a part of that is people who are so rigid and so committed to what things say. My classes were always unorthodox. There was music always playing in my class. If you came in, my kids were working, there was a CD playing somewhere. I had an advisory at Banneker High School. My kids were very creative. They like to sing, they like to dance. When we had advisory, there was a whole performance. So much so one of the teachers came from next door and said, "What's going on in this class?" I came to see what's going on. I said, they're having a great time. They needed that time. They were under a lot of pressure. They needed to know they could still sing and play and laugh and joke with each other and bond with each other. We suck it out of you. That's what life does. And we all end up, always, when I tell you all my story about 2018, that we all wake up and put on a mask.
Yeah.
for what we think the world and everybody expects of us. When we do that, we lose who we are because we keep putting it on. We put it on so much, we start believing that's all we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to learn to take that off, put it aside, and go out there and live life. You know, that's where I am now. I'm living my life now, and it's too late to start or too early to start. And that's why it's important for young people to pay attention and for us to tell our story. So you don't have to wait to be as old as I was at the time. I was 62. But understanding that something had to change and that I was not who I truly was. And so take those masks off. Go out there and do something. Take that chance. My daughter didn't work for 8 months. Thank God she had some resources of her own. She didn't have to ask us for anything. She had resources of her own until she got a job that paid her they offered her something and she counted and they paid her more than her counter because they said they thought she was worth it. And they didn't want to run the chance of not having her work for them. So that's where she currently has the job. And it's exactly what she prayed for. And so she had one job off, and she was disappointed. And it was with Airbnb. She was disappointed. She didn't get it. I was hurt. I said, why are you hurt? I said, let's go back to what you said you wanted me to pray for and what you were praying for. You said you wanted to pray for a certain type of company and you wanted a certain type of manager. I said, tell me what you said about the woman who would have been your manager at Airbnb. That's not what you prayed for. You said you didn't want someone who you felt different from. That's how you felt when you talked to this person before they ended up not offering you a job. I said, you didn't get that job because that wasn't the job you prayed for. You got a job that you prayed for. You say, I love this manager, but that's what you were praying for.
Yeah, faith is key. And you got to step out. I sit there. I always mention this story because it's so important. While I was living in South Africa, and one of my tour guides, he took us around and shared with us the townships. And so I went to photograph the townships in Cape Town. And so while we were out and about, he stops us in the van and looks at me and says, do you know what the meaning of fear? Because we were talking about the story about taking the leap of faith and not being afraid. And he says, well, I said, and he caused me to think. He was an older gentleman. And he says, do you know what is fear? Do you know what fear is? And that just started explaining to him my own conception of fear. And then he says, yes, but no. Let me give you the meaning of fear. And I put it on the screen. He says, it's the false evidence appearing real. Your mind thinks of all the bad things, all the false stuff that could possibly come up in your brain.
Right.
But the fear is simply false evidence appearing real. Because just like I remember, I used to have these dreams when I was a kid growing up for many, many years into my adult life. I would be falling from the sky. I would always fall from the sky. I don't know how I got into these dreams, and I will be falling from the sky. Falling. And then my mother said, she said, make sure you wake up before you hit the ground. Every time you have those dreams, make sure you wake up. I was like, okay, Mom. But then when I went skydiving, I never had those dreams again. Do you know why? Because I learned the reality of what happens when you fall out falling in the sky.
Right.
So we have these false ideas of what is going on or what could happen. And we're afraid. You ever meet a kid that says, I don't like that. And they never touched it before. They don't even know what it is. They never tasted it before. I don't like that.
Right.
Thanks for me when I was little.
It's false.
I mean, yeah.
False evidence appearing real, y'all. It's false evidence. I want everybody in the chat today to text it out. Because if you text it out, if you take this and write it out, it's going to be one extra. You know, they say to learn something, you have to say it see it. In this case, so you can't smell it, but you actually have to write it. And the more you do every sensor or senses that you touch is going to be reinforced in you. So I want everybody in this community, and if you happen to watch this after and you look at the video, I want you to do it too. I want you to put in the comment box. If you can, if you're driving, don't do it. I got you. Do it later. But put in there, fear equals false evidence appearing real. So anytime when you are afraid to do something, it's false. Get out there and just do it. And you will find on the other side of fear. There's another quote. I forget the fullness of it. When you cross over the other side of fear, you find another beauty in life. You find something creative. You find confidence in who you are. You find boldness to do the next thing. Every fearful thing that you accomplish makes you stronger for the next thing that comes up.
I've actually posted this in my stories before. False evidence appearing real. I put that in my stories before, and I see
Jazzy did it. Jazzy did it.
Talked about the fear of failure, and that is one of the things that fear of failure keeps people from leaving horrible jobs, horrible relationships. Because not saying relationships because they don't want to be seen as I failed at that. Hey, you failed. I tell my friend who stayed in a horrible marriage for too long. I said, if you're only happy 50% of the time, you fail. I said, because if you took a test and got 50, that's a failure. I said, I'm not trying to be happy 50% of my life.
Good math.
I'm trying to be happy 99.9 if I can. If I can't, look, I'm gonna come as close to it as possible. That's how you have to function. But we talked about that, but I know you asked what we want to talk about. I don't want us to leave here before we talk about Harvard.
Yes.
I think we should talk about
We got time.
And
love Harvard.
My husband has been like reading all the stuff that they put out there, what they wanted Harvard to agree to. Absolutely absurd. And Harvard, and I have to go back to what is it last week when Barack Obama said to all those schools with these big endowments, don't give in, fight. He told the law firms, come together and don't give in to this stuff. Don't give in. And when Harvard said, when the things that they asked this school to do, they want to review all their course. They want to put an overseer over it.
Yes.
Review all their courses.
Yes.
Interview all of their professors. Go through their student list and all of this craziness. And I said, now what Harvard has is enough money to fight this until you die.
Yeah.
They have all the money in the world to fight this. But the things that they want to do, and it's interesting because there are two things that they're doing with higher education on two sides. So one side, they're saying that there are these schools who are discriminating against whites and Asians. I want y'all to hold on to that. On the other side, they say, oh, they're anti-Semitic. So where are these two groups? And what are they saying?
Yeah.
Because they're using both of them.
Yes.
They're using Asians and they're using Jewish people.
Well, the Asian one was made up. I mean, they created it was. I didn't say made up. It was manufactured.
I know it wasn't real. I know the one that went to the Supreme Court that was real. But
that was manufactured.
I'm talking about now.
Yes.
Now that's one of the things that they're trying to use against schools as far as enrollment and higher education. You look it up. They talked about it for the last month. And now they're saying that with these schools they're coming after, there's all this anti-Semitic stuff going on. And I always want people to understand something. Semites are not just Jewish people. They're not. Palestinians are Semites. I want people to really focus on that. Look it up. Find out who Semites are. They're not just Jewish people. They're people from a region. Go look at the study that shows that the majority of the people who live in Israel are not ancestrally connected to that land.
That's right.
The majority of them living in Palestine are. So I want us to always focus on what we're really talking about. Now, I'm not anti anybody. I want all of us to win, but I think they need to understand how when they're being used.
They're being
Some of them don't
used.
mind to be used because they want to benefit because they want to go over there and own other people's land. They want to take the people's land, right? I think we have to be careful of what we do. You see what it says in the definition?
Yep.
And we're so prone to repeat what they say and let them control the narrative without even educating ourselves on who the people really are. And I just decided to take that time to educate myself on. I looked it up. I said, who are they? Who is this group of people? And are they only one group of people? And so then when you mistreat the people from the Arab world, are you also anti-Semitic? According to definition. I think we have to be careful of how we allow them to control what we say and do, which is what we do. We allow them to control the language we use, how they define stuff as how we use things when it's not real. It's all not real. But those two groups of people, because they're being used, I would let them say something. Now the beauty of Harvard is that it is Jewish. And he's like, no, this has nothing to do with my people. This is not happening on this campus. And I think that's the beauty of what's happening there. But I would love to hear what you all had to say about Harvard, because it's just so many things. The things that they want them to do. And my husband's like, yeah, they thought since they got over on Columbia, they could come on over to Harvard. And Harvard said, basically Harvard said, F you.
That's right.
Well, what I love what Harvard did is it stood up for itself, but also gave other universities the right to stand up and to do it collectively. Because now what you're seeing now is other schools coming together collectively to say that we're going to support one another financially to fight back. A lot of the Big Ten schools have done this, and some other schools across the country are now saying, we want to be a part of this. How do we become a part of it? Because, Columbia, we kowtowed and kissed the ring. But when you have someone like Harvard saying, no, we're not doing this, then you have other, it's empowered everyone else to say, all right, you know what? No, we're not going to do this. This is what we have to do. And this is an example, just not for universities and colleges, but for everyone as Americans to say, no, we're not doing this. This is not what we're accustomed to. Dictatorships, oligarchies, and all those other things that fall under those categories can only happen if we allow it to happen.
Allow them. People have to cave and let them. People don't realize there's power in the majority. This is what kills me. Like I said this about Bill Maher, and I'll have to mention it. I used to look at Bill Maher every Friday. I used to love the show. I mean, I don't love everything he says, but I used to love the show. It was pretty cool. And someone like Bill Maher, or even any of these people that are on TV, are now cowering down, cowardly kissing the feet of Trump. Now you got all the bros and all these other people on Bill Maher. These people don't realize if everyone in the country stands up against this fool, he can't stand. What are you going to do? He's going to arrest all 365 million people? He can't. He's the one that needs to go, not us. But these institutions, they're talking about the ones with the FCC, with the media.
Yeah.
And how they're revolting, taking away their the ability to do what they call mergers and that stuff. And so unless they do what they want them to do. But that's what happens. And Don Lynn was talking about this morning, is what happens when you bow down before it's even asked.
Absolutely.
These people bow down before they were even asked to bow down. DEI. You canceling DEI, no one asked you to cancel DEI because you just want to say, I'm with you. I want to be with your program because they'll come after me. And it's stupidity. Stupid.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Gwendolyn.
Oh, when Ron was in his moment, I was like, let me just hold on for a second. So a couple of things. One, the thing about higher education, and Dr. Chachi also mentioned it, I'm still confused as to why Columbia just pretty much bend it over. Like, I just don't understand.
I don't either.
I don't get it. It's higher education, right? The whole idea is to go to a place and be able to learn more, see all different perspectives. But you're also private. You're a private institution. What are you doing?
That part.
With all these businesses, I don't know how they don't understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for business. It's good for business. It's good for your workforce. It's good for your bottom line. How are y'all not seeing that? Like, how are y'all missing it? I'm just confused. I'm so confused by that. That if
they found it out.
Take out all the women, all the brown people, all the black people, all the Spanish folks, that's going to be good for your bottom line. Please tell me how that math adds up. But I go back. I want to piggyback to what Ron said. People don't understand the power they have. And if you are told time and time and time again that you have no power, you start believing that BS. So you do what everybody else does. You have no character. You have no integrity. There is a song by Van Hunt that's titled Character. And it says, who are you when the storm is brewing? Where is your character? Because we're all good when things are good. But now things are looking kind of funny. Now you got to show it for what is right. So do you get inconvenienced and lose a little something, sacrifice a little something, or do you just say, I don't want to deal with that, so I'm going to go ahead and do what everybody else is doing? So if Billy jumped off the bridge, I'm going to jump off the bridge too.
This is why Target now is figuring and is finding out the decision that they made was the wrong one. I believe the CEO of Target now is trying to have conversation with Al Sharpton because Al Sharpton and his network is trying to officially boycott them. My thing is Target's finding out. I would not be surprised if give it a year, you won't see Target anymore, because how can you sustain a business when you have basically dismissed a good portion of your consumer base? I have not been in Target since the end of December. It is now we're about to get ready to get into the 5th month of the year. I have been a Target shopper for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm. And you're not the only one.
In college, I started going to Target, 95, around that area, and I have not stepped foot in there in almost 5 months. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah, and what I find interesting is that he's meeting with Al Sharpton. Because Jamal Bryant is the one he needs to be talking to.
Right.
He came for you. And I think Al Sharpton, because he's the more I don't want to put it this way, he's more milquetoast than Jamal Bryant. I'm just saying what I feel. That's
no. Say what you gotta say.
Because Jamal Bryant doesn't care whether or not he gets a check from a media outlet.
Is this true? See, Al Sharpton got to worry about being on MSNBC.
Absolutely.
That part.
Because if he say the wrong thing, they're gonna boot him out. They already got rid of
and you know how to get rid of people of color. They yanking their shows. They snatching them up. Bye.
Yes.
And probably the only reason why they haven't gotten rid of Sharpton is because he is Sharpton. And they were like, "Oh, you getting rid of the old black guy? You're gonna get rid of the old black guy."
It's not even. I think it's bigger.
He's holding on by a thread.
I think it's bigger than just that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than just the old black guy. It's how he talks that keeps him there. It's how he talks.
Break it down. Break it down, Aliyah.
I just want y'all to listen to him sometimes and listen to how his conversation.
Yes.
And how he talks. That's why they keep him there. If he came out and he was like Don Lemon on that day when Don Lemon was like, "Pop out because I know I'm leaving," but he's not gonna come out like that, right? He's just not. He's not. And I do agree with Jazz. I don't care who they talk to, because it's not gonna change anything about what I do.
Damage is done.
That part, yeah.
Damage is done. No one's going back to.
I would never go back.
I'm not going back.
It's like an abusive relationship. Why would you go back to an abuser?
Because I keep telling y'all, historically, what they've counted on from us as a people is that step all over us and do all these things, and we're gonna turn the other cheek and come back. This time we just decided we're not coming back. Well, I'm not that kind of person. I've never been that kind of person. If I stop dealing with you, I am done.
That part. when I'm done, I'm done.
It's over. I mean, look, my son is a Virgo, but he says he thinks he got part of that from me because when I'm done, I'm done. But he is definitely a Virgo, Gwendolyn. He's definitely one. But going back to the Colombia thing,
yes,
there's some backstory somewhere.
Something is they're hiding something.
There's stuff that they allowed them to do on their campus during the protest. Now this, and they caved for what? Only $400 million, and they have billions of dollars in their
coffers.
Their coffers, right? You vote for this $400 million? No. Yeah. And then what really got me? So you the president sitting up there, you allowing this foolishness to happen, and then you get fired.
Yes,
that part.
Well, they've been after them even in the last administration. Remember, they went in the last administration. They went after all those presidents of the colleges.
Yep.
And they think these people are going to be friendly with them. Anytime you bow down to demons and devils and people that are evil, they just take advantage. Oh yeah, we got them now. Just like that little letter that we saw in history where Columbus says, "Oh, these people are really nice. These people of the Caribbean are they're caring. They give. They're so friendly. They're so hospitality. We could take advantage of this.
Right.
They're easy for the pickings.
Right.
Evil people are just evil.
They are.
True.
And they're looking for every weak area to take you down.
Yeah. And they are, like they always say, what they've done historically in regimes like this.
Yes, regimes.
You come for education, and you come for the arts.
Yes, always.
Because artists now, some artists that I follow, they're on fire right now. But they come for those. They come for the arts, whether it's written or through film, whatever it is, they'll come for it because that's where the stories are told.
Yep.
And that's where the people get the information from.
Yes.
It's from those places. And that's what they come for. They come for education. They've let us know that they're coming for education. And the funny story in my house that every time my husband reads things now, did they talk about this in Project 2025? I said, I keep telling you they talked about all of this.
All this in Project 2025.
Pull it up for you to read. I said, because you keep asking me every day, is this
read it?
It's in there. I said, so when I tried to get you to read this, because my husband reads all the time, I tried to get you to read it. Now every time something happens, was that it? Yes, it was in there. All of this, I said they wanted to. I mean, we have to remember now. One of the things in there is the American Academy that they want to create. Remember?
Yes.
Like the fact of the books they've taken taken from the Naval Academy, but they left Mein Kampf.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They took Maya Angelou out the Naval Academy, but left that.
Left Mein Kampf.
That's right.
So you have to think about. I go back every time I think about what they're doing in education or attempting to do. I go back to what it says about those American academies in Project 2025.
Yes,
they wrote about them, and I think I hope that they continue to galvanize together at these higher institutions, continue to galvanize together, and fight this, because if people and institutions haven't learned anything from this person and this regime of people, is that when you give in, it's over for you.
Yes.
When you fight back, is when he's like, wait a minute, what I gotta do? So last night, we're gonna put 245% tariffs on China, and China's laughing even harder.
Yes.
Because China's like, remember, the trade deficit is because you buy more from us than we buy from you.
Yes.
That's what it really is about. It's no such thing as about the tariffs. It's how much you buy from us. And China says, so now we're not going to get 90% of the oil we got from you, because we're going to deal directly with Canada.
Yeah, that's right. We're getting oil from Canada. I said this last night to one of my friends. We were talking. Also, not only that, Canada is going to make more money, because the United States, they were giving the United States a break. They were giving them like a 45-50% break And now Europe is also wants to get their oil from Canada.
They're
So
all
now,
starting to come together.
yes,
Their strength is together.
yes,
They realize it, and that's what we have to realize as people. We're so much stronger together. Their thing is they don't want us to come together. That's why
right.
they make certain people their poster children.
Yes,
They say crazy things. But that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of these. They have to be nervous about these billionaires are nervous about all of these countries coming together. Japan and China and Korea South Korea standing together with locked arms, saying, "Hey, we ready?
We ready."
And China saying, I'm still couldn't get those. I can still get those soybeans from.
Well, they already said they already took the soy in the last tariff. You forget that the Chinese did not come to the table when he put in the last tariffs when he was in administration.
Right.
They still waiting for them to come to the table from this first term, and they haven't done it.
The farmers,
China don't need them. Don't need us.
Really? Now those same farmers still voted for him again.
Yeah, they still voted.
Now they're saying, I don't know how true that is, but I've heard, I heard online that they're going to start getting beef from Australia instead of the U.S.
Yes. And Brazil is now China's #1 producer and import from Brazil for the soy.
Ridiculous.
And China says we are not going back to the United States. So now those farmers, it's done. And now the rest of the world is saying we are not doing business with people that cannot be trusted. And that includes the American people that put the fool in the office to represent them.
That's what it boils down to. It's not even so much that they don't trust Trump. They don't trust the people that put him back there.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You not voting, that 30% that did not vote, that is what helped to put him back there. And it's like, all right, well, you know what? You can't decide. We'll decide for you.
Yes.
Right. And the farmers who voted to keep him in there. Why do I need to get? I can't trust you either because you put him back in here.
That's right.
Well, why should I buy your products? It makes sense.
Buying.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Charlene says BRICS. Now Trump doesn't realize again his stupid ability to not understand global political positioning around the planet. They have been working on BRICS for the last 10 years, and he just gave it more strength.
And what does the R stand for?
The R stands for Russia. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. There you have it. And not only, this is the main part of BRICS, because they want to do away with the American dollar. When the American dollar has no more worth, the American people will be instantly plunged into poverty. Because of the dollar, people invested in us. Because of our stable, law-abiding government, people trusted America. Now that you've done away with a law-abiding presidency and Congress, you create instability. And this is why the bond market took a hit last week, because, again, it wasn't about Trump saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to do a reversal on these tariffs and do a carve-out. It wasn't because of that. It was because for the first time, and I said this before, for the first time in financial economic history, when the stock market was plunging, the bond market was plunging at the same time. The first time in recorded economic history of this country. Because Japan, people thought it was going to be China that did it first. Japan says, oh, we can't trust America. We are dealing with an unstable country. We are calling in the bonds.
Right.
We are calling in and we are getting our money out of the country now. And when the bond market started to fall, those people, those bankers got on like Diamond and all the rest of those fools that put him in office. Now they're changing their tune and saying, hey, we need to wait a minute over there. Trump, you need to get it together. We are losing the country. And people don't realize the damage is done.
Yeah,
and any day that China decides to get up in the morning, if China decided,
if
Trump
China
is a
decided to do something
fool.
with their bonds, it would be crazy.
If China decided to get up tomorrow, I mean, what's stopping them is just because they know they continue to do business with us. There are transactions that need to happen, but don't, as they say, don't sleep on China, and don't mistaken their quietness of how they're doing these things as something that they're ignorant of. China could destroy the country tomorrow morning by just simply calling in all of the bonds.
And
the American debt.
Right. And what we have to understand in their quietness, what they're doing is galvanizing. They're establishing their own trades within each other's countries so that they say, I can get this from you and you can get this from me. So they can cut you out. Just like you battling about the Panama Canal, and Mexico and China got this other route that's coming around the other side.
Yes, they're building another whole route.
They're bringing a whole nother route, right? So you over here focus. You so narrowly focused on one thing because it's like where he is on the spectrum. He gets that thing in his head.
He's on the spectrum. Trump is on the spectrum. Now, where that spectrum is, I mean, we all have a little spectrum somewhere, but he is on.
They fixate. They will fixate on something. And so he's fixated on, let me send some troops to Panama Canal because China's down there building up some building. And someone went through the whole thing of what China's doing. China's building railroads in other countries.
Everywhere.
They're building everything, buildings everywhere. They're everywhere. They own buildings over here. But so they're building all this infrastructure for people. But you don't understand that while you're doing all of this ranting and raving and your regime is out of control, these people you just in the middle and nobody's paying attention to you.
Pretty much.
Look, I got two things, and I'm gonna stop for the day. I'm gonna go back to Lisa's comments. He's alienated us from the rest of the world, yes, and he did this in 3 months.
Less than 3 months. Less than 3 months.
Let's just marinate on that. That happened that quickly. Okay.
Unraveled our friends, our allies. And again, last we checked, most of the things that we have on our desk, everything on this desk that I have on my desk that helps me to be on here with you, came through China. Some way, somehow.
Everything.
What we talking through.
So
everything.
Imagine if China just said, you know what? We are not giving you anything. But you know what? Like Gwendolyn says all the time, she reminds, and if there's one thing that Gwendolyn tells me a lot of stuff, she is a true great work wife. One thing that echoes in my brain over and over again, she's only said it maybe 2 or 3 times, but it stays in my brain every time I think about it. People are not going to change until the pain is so great that they cannot do otherwise. And I'm paraphrasing it.
You are paraphrasing.
Yes, I'm paraphrasing.
During the Great Depression, jumping out of they're about to jump out. But they got to remember now these windows don't just open up. You got to do something different.
You got to unscrew the window to jump out. You
have to go up to the roof.
And you can't get to the roof either because they got the emergency locks on them.
You're just gonna be stuck.
So you are stuck. But let me tell you, if China, and I love the way you made that point, Elise. They are working quietly behind the scenes, working on all these trade agreements. And then at some point, after everyone is what they call consolidated and everyone has refuge and don't need nothing from America, then they're going to say, boop, and it's over. America, as like one person said online, the thing Americans fear, irrelevance. You will be no more. America will not even be it will have come and gone. Think about that in world history. All these nations have been around for thousands of years.
Yes.
America is the parasite to them, and they see us as a parasite, a virus. And the world is now galvanizing together to destroy the virus that's been around for 248 years, to annihilate them because they have caused so much havoc on the planet through their criminal activities and all the stuff that they do. And now, don't get me wrong, America has done some great things.
Of course.
I mean, we have created a whole economy based around us. And we brought a lot of countries out of poverty with, obviously, strings attached.
Well, you brought them out of poverty by outsourcing the things that put your people in poverty.
Yes, right.
I mean, I'm trying to understand that one. I was like,
so guys, we're gonna have to end here. It is 12:32. I'll try to get you guys always out by 12:30.
Look,
this was a good one, a good conversation.
If I take a trip anytime out of the country, soon, I'm gonna have on I'm one of the 92%.
Yeah,
on the plane.
I tell you, but people don't realize China could end it all tomorrow. But then, like you said, they don't have to do it, and they need to get all their galvanizing together before they do it. But there's going to come a day that China, Japan, who own our debt,
right,
are going to pull that lever, and it's going to be all over. So I plead with everyone to start thinking outside the box. How you can preserve your wealth, how you can create wealth, because again, and then also use these overseas levers, because your wealth is going to be dependent on outside of the country versus inside this country.
Can you hear me, Gwendolyn?
We hear you.
Oh.
I hear you.
I was just trying to see if you could hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you now, Ms.
Everyone's spinning. I guess I must be spinning too.
No, I think the connection was bad for a little bit, but give it a second. It's coming back now.
You're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Last thoughts. Oh, today, Elise, tell us what's coming on later on this evening.
Okay. So today at 7:30. I will have 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
I will be on IG Live with Tanya. I always want to say her name right. Tanya Wedemeyer's Gallery in Brooklyn for a conversation. Rebooting my conversation on there. Addicted to art, which I am.
Yes, you are.
Oh, and
yes,
my IG handle is SALIEZE_.
Yes. And you will find her. And I'm going to put that on the screen right now so you can actually see it. So that way, because, seeing is believing. And so here's for our wonderful Elise is going to be sharing today. And let me just get that on the screen so you'll have it. And there it is. Let me just go from the beginning of it. This is Elise's page. Let me pop it there. And there we go. Here we go. That's what we're doing. That's what she's talking about. So join her. That would be we got to support her. And Gwendolyn, do you have anything coming up?
Well, let's see. This Friday, I'm celebrating Prince, so all Prince fans should come out.
Oh, yeah.
Next Friday, I am talking about imposter syndrome, asking who the F is the fraud. So, because that's where Gwendolyn resides, kicking up dust.
Come on, Dust.
And make sure you catch the repeat. Catch the repeat of conference call, because that was really funny. That was yesterday. It was yesterday, right, Chris? Conference call.
All right, so the conference call. We got some news coming up. But so the last episode of Drag Race, the grand finale, is going to be tomorrow night, and we record on Sunday, so it'll be out on Monday. So
Gotcha.
look out for that on our channel. We had a great season.
Yes.
But we'll be right back because All Stars just got announced. So stay tuned for that and for some other exciting news on our channel.
Thank you. And also remember, if you can, make sure that you know that if you want to stay on our mailing list, go to Ron Lewis Photos, put your name on the mailing list so that way we can connect with you. Also, I'm an event photographer, so make sure if you know people that are looking for an event photographer here in the city, here in the New York area, or across the country. I travel, so if you need an event photographer, call me up, send me a DM. Also, thank you for our Patreon folks who support this channel and what we do here. And if you aren't a Patreon member, become one. And not only just a free one, but become a paid Patreon member so you can support what we do here. The bills do increase over time as we are doing our StreamYard and all the Canva and all the stuff that we do to produce what we do here. So be a part of the Patreon community and support, because we could use your help. Okay, and so become a Patreon member. You can also just look up on your YouTube channel, and the top of it, you'll see the link that says Patreon, and right at the top of the Patreon page on this channel. Okay, and I think that's it, guys. Have a wonderful Thursday, and this was great. I just love you guys. You guys, you just make me exhale. That's all I want to say. In a good way. you heard that horn? timely. Okay, guys, take care. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.
All right, see you later.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.